Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Everybody is good as always. Today we're diving back into that lab talking Cam Ward, scouting report, likely the top quarterback to come out of this draft class. Very interesting prospect nonetheless. There are a lot of things to like about this man. But, I mean, overall, this is likely, I don't want to say go as far as to say a historically bad quarterback class, but it is got to be, put in with some tempered expectations because these guys aren't necessarily the elite of elite like we've seen in seasons past, but there still are good ones. We talk pros, cons, and a great score for Mr. Cam Ward, Miami, the U. So when we discuss somebody like a Cam Ward, it's not that I'm a hater, but I'm not just putting my expectations on this upper tier where it's going to be extreme disappointment later on. They're good quarterbacks. They got a lot of abilities in this class, but it really is the top three in Ward, Sanders, and a Jackson Dart that are going to lead the charge. And is it anything, better than, say, the Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder class? We will see. I mean, there was a lot of hope and belief that class could do something decently special, but like I'm saying, perennial backups potentially with some starter capability, maybe 4 or 5 year starters, maybe take some time like the Genos, like the Sam Darnolds, take some time to find their game in the NFL and then become a player. This is kind of where we're seeing this quarterback class be, and I mean, Cam Ward definitely is on, one of the top leaders in this class. Let's talk his measurables as always. 6'2", 220, nearly 22 years of age, played in 38 contests with Washington State and the U. He did very well in Miami. 66% on that completion percentage, 11,281 yards, 7.9 on the average through 87 touchdowns to only 23 interceptions. So statistically speaking, he does check the box. He does more than enough to get you excited to at least move this football. Made Miami's offense that much more dynamic and definitely turned a lot of heads during last season in college football. But for some pros, he does got a lot of them. And I mean, this is on the hope that he's going to continue to grow his game without question. Frame is put together at 6'2", maybe the undersized rather than the prototypical 6'4", 6'5", but the body frame at 219, nearly 220, he is very much put together. You can see he's got like a tank quarterback frame that you want to see that can take a lot of punishment if he does take some sacks or some hits. He's got more than enough arm. I'm not going to sit here and preach it up and say it's a stellar arm. It's more than enough arm. He can definitely drive it down the field 60 yards, and you won't be any worse for wear. If we're talking about an arm, it's in the Tua Tagovailoa type of category for me. Most of these quarterbacks in this class kind of fall in that range. There is no Patrick Mahomes. There is no Josh Allen type of cannon of an arm in this draft class, but Cam Ward definitely has more than enough to get it down the field. He's got a good pass release when the mechanics are sound. So I'm putting a caveat there where you do see him round off at times. We'll talk about that in the cons. But when he does have it a pinpoint where he's stepping up in his throws and the hip torque is nice, you do see the release very good. Outside of that, when the mechanics are soft, you will see it kind of, round off, come out of his hand a little bit slower. So there is some, good to the fact that he can do it. I want to see, can you do it once? Can you do it twice? You guys know my the way I evaluate. I mean, you got to do it more than twice for me to take notice, and then we'll start talking. But the pass release is good. I'm not going to sit here today and say that it's great. Ball placement definitely has improved. He can get the ball to his wide receivers. There are a lot of open wide receivers for him, but he does make the capable throws. Ball placement definitely is improving in a Cam Ward. Am I going to again say that it is stellar? No, but it's definitely improving to the point that you can take notice and say there are tight window throws. There are, bucket dimes that he does toss, but you do want to see a little bit more out of that. He typically does lead his wide receivers down the field. This is what I do like. The timing is definitely key for Cam Ward. I almost call him Cam Newton. But Cam Ward, definitely timing is there, and he will lead his wide receivers. So the anticipation of where he needs to put the football is definitely on point for a Cam Ward, and I do like that as well. Very creative, man. This is probably I want to say the best part of his game, but the fact that he can evade tacklers, would-be sacks coming his way, he can bounce the pocket pretty well, whether or not he's going left or right. There are some downticks to that as well, but he does this exceptionally well. Whether or not he's going to go and, roll out, avoid a would-be sack and, take it down the field with his legs or create more opportunities for his wide receivers to run these routes, he does this very well. Very creative, won't give up on plays, and he can make, extend plays that much better, I should say it that way. keeps his eyes down the field, and he does progress the field relatively well. I do like this about your quarterback, where he is still looking for his wide receivers, progressing the field, looking for more than just a one-read option, 2, 3 down the field. He does this fairly well, and you do like the fact that he is always keeping his eyes down the field to make a play happen. He is more of a touch passer than a power arm talent. That's not a knock on the man, because quarterbacks can play. We've seen guys like Brock Purdy, game manager, touch passer, able to, be very accurate with the football. This is kind of what your situation is. You can win with quarterbacks like these, especially with a guy who does have mobility and can take off. He definitely, though, is more of that touch passer than he is straight up arm talent that's going to rifle it down the field or find, multiple tight window throws on the big boy throws. Definitely more touch than a power. He's shown those big boy throws in those tight windows. Like I'm saying, he does have that ability. You've seen it more than once, where there is contested catch ability, where there is their wide receivers double covered. He does find it over the middle of the field, linebackers in the zone coverage. Cam Ward has been seen to do this quite a bit as well, so you do get appreciative of that sense of his game. Is it top end? No, but he can do it. That's what you want to see, and improvements can be had with more coaching in the NFL. Pocket awareness, I got no problems with it. He can absolutely evade would-be tacklers, steps up in the pocket, sidesteps the pocket, and he will roll out. There are good positives with him in the pocket, and he understands when he needs to utilize his mobility and how he can step up and sidestep in the pocket. Awareness is definitely good for me, and I do like that about my quarterbacks. He can evade, like I'm saying, would-be sacks. He's a tough tackle, man. They have him in the grasp, I should say. And, he's still getting out of it. So this is the thing. He will fight for extra plays, extra yards. We've seen it with guys like Caleb Williams as well. Sometimes you fight a little too long, but your ability to evade tacklers is what you want to see, especially for a guy who's not like lightning quick, like a Lamar Jackson or a Jaden Daniels. Being able to evade the sacks and the would-be tacklers is definitely very important in this day and age in the NFL. Cam Ward definitely has this very tough tackle, will break tackles even in the backfield. Like I said, sound mobility. He will make plays down the field as he is running. And he's a unit when he is running down the field. Almost 220 pounds. You definitely know when he's coming, he's definitely going to at least gain extra yardage. But for some cons, everybody's got him. Cam's got him as well. We all know this, man. Arm talent overall, not elite. And this is going to be the biggest knock on him. Does this mean you can't play quarterback in the NFL? Absolutely not. There are many quarterbacks who don't have the elite, quote-unquote Anthony Richardson cannon of an arm, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, the Lamar Jackson type of cannons. He does not possess this arm and he won't have it in the NFL. There's no question. Even if you go in the weight room, you're going to be limited and capped off for where you can be. The arm talent is good, definitely not elite for me. Pass velocity, okay? When it views as labored from time to time, and this is kind of what I'm saying. So a lot of people want to suggest that his pass release is very good in quality. When his mechanics are good, absolutely. But when you notice him going to the sideline, either left or right, you can see it kind of falls off. It's labored in a sense where he's trying really hard to get it to the sideline. So that to me indicates, again, the arm talent isn't necessarily on that elite trend. He can make plays happen. He can, for me, specifically, he's better suited for, over the middle, 15, 20 yards, rather than going sideline or straight deep. And there's a lot of plays that can be had from these types of quarterbacks. And I do think that, when you see the velocity, especially to the sidelines, it is a concern. We could see guys jumping these routes in the NFL, and that could be a problem for interceptions, maybe even pick sixes. Too often he can be flat-footed. For my quarterbacks, you got to have that footwork, baby. You got to understand. Don't be so flat-footed. Got to be bouncy, moving, first read, second read, bouncing, and then take off and run. I want to see those bouncy feet more than I don't. It's not to say that he doesn't have good feet. We've just seen the flat-footed nature a little bit too much for my liking, but this is definitely a coachable trait that he will understand with better mechanics and tutelage to his game. He can struggle with the rollout accuracy. This is a problem. He's better going left than he is right, which is surprising because he's a right-handed quarterback, but we even saw it at his pro day, floating over his wide receivers in shorts. This is not what you want to see. Seen it in game as well, where he can be inaccurate when he is rolling out of the pocket, but going left, seemingly he looks a lot better and more comfortable throwing across his body than he is throwing with the motion on the right side. So definitely something to keep on tap. And watch out for if you are, in your, film study, whatever. But I'm telling y'all, it is one of these situations where I don't like that because the accuracy and the rollout definitely needs to be on point, especially for how much he does escape the pocket. Red zone efficiency, definitely needs drastic improvement. Interceptions, incompletions, overthrows are definitely all on tap for a Cam Ward. This could also be coached out of his game, understanding the ball placement to the pylons, certain areas. But I mean, as creative as he is, he's going to have to read where his wide receivers are going and hit them. He has done it. I'm not saying this is a complete negative, but we have seen red zone issues definitely for a Cam Ward. Overall field awareness, just use some refinement, understand where everybody is. This comes with snaps. This comes with a good coaching staff. This comes with a good team. So as long as he has good wide receivers, we saw somebody like an Xavier Restrepo was his safety blanket, and I think, he will be a slot feeder, Cam Ward will be, and that's not necessarily a knock either. You get some good quality slot wide receivers, they will eat with a Cam Ward. Outside wide receivers may take a little bit of a haircut when it comes to their statistical achievement. He has had, progression lapses. I mean, coverage schemes, zone coverages, the man-off coverage to zone. You see it many times where Cam does get confused at times. And again, this is something that can definitely be worked out with more film study in his game. Overall, he is a good talent. Is he a great talent? I mean, it's to be debated. He's likely going to be the first overall pick in this draft, but based on the pros and the cons, I mean, it is a lesser of a class if we are talking that. But for grading purposes, Cam still graded out fairly well for me. He's got a lot of the intangibles that we look for in being a quality quarterback in the NFL, and it's definitely not a knock. He should be able to at least challenge to be a starter for a little while, and if he does continue to improve his game, then he will be a starter for many years to come. But he does hover in that class of being, lesser top quarterbacks than we have seen. 76.3% is the grade score after my long evaluation of the man. Definitely not a terrible score for a Cam Ward. Still sits in that outstanding, very good ability and could be something special in the league if he does progress in the right ways. Coaching will definitely matter here. So in Tennessee, which is likely going to be the situation that he's going to find himself in, we've seen this rotating door of quarterbacks from the Ryan Tannehills to the Will Levises to Mason Rudolphs. Now Cam Ward, come on down. You're going to the Tennessee Titans more than likely, as he should be the first overall pick. But I mean, it is what it is. Cam 76.3 is not a terrible score. So there you have it, that is Cam Ward, the Miami product, Hurricane product, likely going to be the first overall pick in the NFL draft. And okay, have we ever seen such little discussion on the number one overall pick being the quarterback? We have not. This should be a much bigger situation between Cam Ward and Shadir Sanders, but we know how much Prime is talking down the teams that, his son may go to, so that's kind of, affecting his draft stock, but I think it's done purposefully so they get Sanders on the team that he wants to be on rather than others he doesn't. But I think Sanders and Cam Ward very close in similar nature, but these quarterbacks definitely have an opportunity to be starters, but likely could be perennial backups with potential later on career development, like guys like Geno, like Sam Darnold, etc. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts. What do y'all think of Cam Ward? You in, you out, you like his game, you don't like his game, throw it in the comments. We could definitely talk it out, but we'll see you next time. I am out.